Hey everyone, welcome back to Crown Corner. I'm Crown, your host for today's exciting episode, where we dive into some truly incredible stories, from unexpected encounters in everyday life to twists of fate in the corporate world. We've got it all. So grab your favorite snack, settle in, and get ready for the roller coaster of emotions, surprises, and life lessons we're about to drop. Let's jump right into our first story. I was on my way to the local grocery store to pick up some essentials. As I approached the main street, something unusual caught my eye. There, right on the crosswalk, was a shiny black sports car parked carelessly, blocking the path. Seriously, I muttered to myself, shaking my head in disbelief. This was not the first time someone had disregarded basic traffic rules in our town, but parking on a crosswalk was a new level of entitlement. As I got closer, I saw a well-dressed man leaning against the car, seemingly oblivious to the inconvenience he was causing. He was busy on his phone laughing at something. I hesitated for a moment but then decided to confront him. "Excuse me, sir, but you can't park here. This is a crosswalk," I said, trying to keep my tone polite but firm. The man looked up, his expression turning from amusement to annoyance in a split second. "And who are you to tell me where I can and cannot park?" he snapped, his voice dripping with condescension. "I'm just a concerned citizen. You're blocking the way for pedestrians," I replied, trying to keep my cool. The man scoffed. "I'll be just a few minutes. It's not a big deal. Mind your own business." Just then, an elderly lady with a walker approached, clearly struggling to navigate around the car. I rushed to help her, feeling my frustration grow. "Sir, please move your car. You're causing trouble for others." The man rolled his eyes and turned away, ignoring my request. And that's when things escalated. A young mother with a stroller tried to cross, finding herself blocked by the car. She politely asked the man to move, but he just waved her off. Seeing this, I couldn't stay silent anymore. "This is unacceptable. You're being incredibly selfish and entitled. I am calling the police." The man finally lost his cool. "Go ahead, call them. Do you know who I am? I have connections. You're the one who will end up in trouble," he yelled, his face turning red with anger. Undeterred, I took out my phone and dialed the local police station. As I explained the situation, a small crowd began to gather, watching the drama unfold. The entitled man was now pacing back and forth, still ranting about his importance and connections. In less than 10 minutes, a police cruiser pulled up. Officer J, a well-respected figure in our community, stepped out. He assessed the situation quickly. "Sir, you need to move your vehicle immediately. You're obstructing pedestrian traffic and violating the law." The entitled man tried to argue, dropping names of influential people he claimed to know. But Officer J wasn't swayed. "I don't care who you know. Right now you're breaking the law. Move your car or I will have it towed." Defeated and realizing he had no way out, the man finally got into his car and moved it to a legal parking spot. But as he did, Officer J noticed something. "Hold on, sir. I need to see your license and registration." The man's registration had expired, and he had an outstanding ticket for a previous traffic violation. Officer J issued him another ticket and warned him about his behavior. As the entitled man drove off, the elderly lady patted my hand, saying, "Thank you, young man." So, over the past few days, I've become friends with a retired army officer that I will call Jenny. She's been delighting me with stories of her service, and she shared this wonderful story that I think you all will enjoy. Names and some details have been changed to protect the innocent. Jenny was a young second lieutenant at her first posting. As she put it, "My college diploma hadn't even arrived in the mail, and I was scared as hell." Fortunately, she got on the NCO's good side and settled in pretty nicely. One afternoon, she was at work when an officer's wife stormed in, looking like she was in the mood to cause hell. Jenny keeps her head down, trying to stay busy when she hears the dreaded words. "I'm talking to you, soldier." Jenny looked up and saw the woman. Let's call her Karen because why not? Standing in front of her. "Can I help you, ma'am?" Jenny asked. "Yeah, I am Major Macomb-So-Important's wife, and I need to speak to Colonel Stone." "Do you have an appointment?" "He's busy." Jenny asked. "Just go get him. I'll stand right here until you do." Jenny looks around, wondering what the hell she's supposed to do. She didn't want to risk her job because Colonel Stone was known around the base for having a fierce temper. I'll have you knocked back down to private if you don't do as I say, Karen shouts. Now move. Wanting to get away, Jenny got up and walked towards the colonel's office, intending to get away for a long enough coffee break that Karen will forget. When she looks back, she sees Karen is watching her like a hawk. So there goes that plan. Colonel Stone's door is closed and Jenny knocks on the door. Yes? Colonel Stone barked. Sir, it's Second Lieutenant Jenny Smith. She said that. Come in. Jenny opens the door, does a customary salute, and he immediately notices how nervous she is. What is it? Major Mecamso Important's wife is here, and she wants to speak to you, Jenny said, her voice squeaking. Does she have an appointment? She just said to go get you, and she wouldn't leave until you saw her. I see. Did she threaten to knock you down to private? She did. Colonel Stone nodded and then said in a voice that scared Jenny, Send her in. Jenny salutes and then goes back to Karen. Karen looks absolutely smug. He'll see you now. Jenny said that. See? Now that wasn't so hard, was it? Karen said, strolling over to the colonel's office. It's at this point that a first sergeant named Sanders comes in. He just sits down and as the office door closes, he counts down in a low voice. 3, 2, 1. What the hell were you thinking? Colonel Stone shouted. For a good 5 minutes, he proceeded to tear Karen a new butthole, telling her that she isn't permitted to wear her husband's rank and that if she tries pulling anything like that ever again, her husband will be busted down to private faster than he could sneeze. Karen left the office like a bat out of hell, wild as a sheet and quacking. Jenny never saw her again, but she and the major got divorced shortly afterwards. According to Jenny, he realized what a liability she'd be to his career. This happened in the early 2000s when I joined a startup. We agreed on a salary and no paid overtime and then evaluation in 3 months and then annually. Standard stuff mostly. It was a very mediocre salary for the work, but I really liked the work itself, which was extremely interesting and challenging. For me, even if the finances were so-and-so, I felt I'd learn a lot of skills which would be useful in the future. After 3 years and having 10 decent clients and a bunch of clients trialing and money rolling in, the talk turned to back pay and paid overtime plus compensation for past overtime. At that point, around $50,000 in overtime had been occurred, which is a lot. Legally, it couldn't be back paid, so the talk was always a discretionary bonus. Now, at this point, everyone is okay with this, myself included, and this was discussed in writing. Via company emails too, so I felt secure and that no bad will was in play. I felt the company should be able to afford the payment. Equally, I'd happily settle for equity at a discount, which is legally possible there if cash flow was an issue. The discussions about back pay, possible equity now started to drag on, and I was getting irked by this. In the end, I was made an offer of equity which meant the company valuation was far beyond anything reasonable. In the hundreds of millions and I'd get a minuscule stake. Less than 0.001% of a company with 9 employees and a projected annual turnover of around 2 million. It was an FU of sorts like save me out of money and I didn't want to take that line down. To say I was furious was an understatement. Anyway, the day he made that offer, I handed him my resignation. This sent the CTO into panic mode because the CEO had refused an updated contract and I was still on a month's one notice period, plus I had a lot of untaken paid leave. Basically, it meant I was walking out right then and there. So, off I went, that very same day. To the shock and surprise of everyone, I guess. The next day, I sent an official registered letter requesting my overtime/back pay and received a negative response, which I followed up with another detailed demand. This was also rejected because the bonus was discretionary and there is no overtime. However, I've been seeking legal advice and I understood that they don't have a leg to stand on if I'm willing to pay for an attorney. As a liability in such matters is firmly and 100% on the employer, I was willing. You need to understand that going to a lawyer was very rare in those parts back then. So companies didn't generally expect this outcome. Things have been since changed. When going through the applicable laws with the attorney, I noticed there is a limitation of 7 years. So while my attorney was laying out what to do in order to give me my money in a few weeks, I just asked him, what if we wait until it's 6 years and 11 months after the transgression and then file demanding interest? I wanted this because the law stated that back pay is due at a 9% APR above the base rate, 3.25% at that time, accrued daily, for every day past the due date. We're looking at 12.5% compound daily APR. The risk is that the company folds in that time, but I decided to take that risk. I sent one final letter stating that I expect all the owed and accrued amounts to date to be paid immediately. And of course, nothing happened. For the next few years, life rolled on. The company did grow and become a known player in the area. When the time came, I found an attorney and started the case. We had copies of all the communications, copies of the registered letters and responses. The back pay demanded now, including interest, was 112K. What I didn't know was that, in addition to this, that there are fixed penalties for each instruction to perform uncompensated overtime. The total demand was something like 135K. To say that the CEO, who was still CEO, lost his crap would be an understatement. I got a very verbal abusive phone call which I dutifully recorded. As it wasn't completely unexpected, I was added to the filing. The CEO fought or tried to, but when the judge heard the phone call, he took an immediate dim view. Reading through all the communication just put more nails in the defense's coffin. The judge just ruled and instructed the company to pay immediately and without delay, and also ordered the company to pay all my legal costs. They also got a full audit from the Department of Labor. The company paid up a week later. To add insult to injury, the evening of the court's decision, the CEO apparently got very drunk and crashed his car into another vehicle while drunk. He got a DUI conviction and lost his driving license for half a year, and his insurance refused to pay out for the damages to his vehicle, brand new Mercedes S-Class, as he was drunk. All in all, a glorious day. Hey everyone, I'm 32 male. I've recently found myself in a rather sticky situation and would really appreciate some impartial judgment. My wife, 36 female, and I recently wed, blending my toddler-aged son, 3 male, with her own wonderful son, 12 male. And while we've been trying our best to create a harmonious environment, a recent incident has caused some tension. The other day we had a family gathering at our house and I took a candid photo of the event. In the background of the picture, my toddler is visible while his big brother isn't. Not on purpose, I didn't even realize my toddler was in it himself. I posted the picture on social media without giving it much thought, as it was a sweet moment. However, shortly after posting, my stepson approached me and expressed his hurt feelings. He told me that seeing the picture made him feel excluded and unimportant. He told me like I was intentionally highlighting his brother and neglecting him. I was taken aback by his reaction and tried to reassure him that it was an innocent oversight and that my love for both my boys is equal, but he remained upset. Now here is where I may have messed up. I never took down the post. Those who couldn't make it to our family event had already commented on and liked it, with my mother-in-law haven't even reposted it. While I did understand my son's feeling, I didn't really see the point in deleting it, since it had already had its own fair share of traction. Undoubtedly, my son and I had already had our above chat. Apparently, later my son brought it up to my wife though, and she, out of curiosity, decided to check my account, which still showcased the image. She, rather understandably honestly, proceeded to get angry with me, telling me that it wouldn't have killed me to just delete the post. I did end up taking it down, but my wife still seems to think of me as a jerk for not doing it straight after our son brought it up. So Reddit, am I the jerk here? And now with some comments on the post. Someone saying, okay, I think everyone responding here needs to calm right down. This is not about the photo. This is about the fact that you have recently married and the young kid is perhaps feeling a bit unsure about his place in your life and your heart, and that's making him read more into the picture. His mom is protective and perhaps also feeling a bit unsure about how everything is going to work. The only answer to this is communication. Sit down with your whole family and chat through it. Tell stepson that you love him and you are so happy to be a family together. Tell your wife that you're excited to be raising these two beautiful children together. Remind your 3-year-old that you love him and you're happy that he has a big brother now, and the new stepmom or step-parent or bonus parent or whatever he's going to call her. Tell them that there will be questions, and sometimes they might feel unsure about the new family and everyone's place in it. And when that happens, you want them to talk to you so you can work through those difficult feelings together because you love them, and that's what families do. Tell them that sometimes things might not feel fair because that happens in all families. Sometimes someone gets a special experience or is more in focus on a photo. Sometimes someone else gets to celebrate something important or gets a treat. It evens out in the end. And everyone needs to know that when it's one person's lucky or happy moment, that doesn't mean anyone else is less loved. They are all loved and you are all going to care for one another and have a happy family even with little hiccups along the way. Reiterate that they can tell you when they are feeling left out or sad or worried, and you will be there for them. Good luck with your lovely family. Another commenter adds, not the jerk. First of all, it wasn't a family picture where you cut him out or excluded him from. It sounds like only the beginning of the issues you will have with your stepson and wife. Will he expect to be in every photo your son is in that you post? Will your wife be angry if you don't bow down to her son's emotions? Let's be honest here. As much as you were trying to have her son be like your own, the situation shows me that she and her son don't see your son that way. Her son sees a toddler as a competitor for dad's affection. A toddler in the background of a candid photo shouldn't result in him getting upset and her angry making you delete it. What happens if you want to take your son to do something just the two of you, and then you post a picture? Imagine the hell that would rain down over you doing something with just your son and then posting about it. I'd have a big talk with her about the expectations here. The third commenter goes with, okay, this might be a much bigger issue going on here. Your stepson may actually feel this way and this photo may have reinforced it. To be honest, his approach was rather mature. He articulated his feelings and probably fear quite well, and not just acted on them. Do you post pictures of just you and your stepson on social media? Were there no other pictures of the events you can have added apart from this photo where your stepson was, even in a different post? Do you do activities with your stepson, just him and you? You may not realize, but maybe some of your behavior, even unconsciously, might be the reason for your stepson feeling so insecure about his place in the family. You should also have taken the time to sit down with him and actually ask him why he feels this way instead of saying I love you boys equally, because it might be obvious to you, but it's clearly not to him. So nobody's a jerk for posting the picture, but you're the jerk for not seeing how insecure your stepson is and not correcting by taking the picture down or adding more when you realize how hurt he was feeling, which is why your wife is annoyed with you. The fourth commenter seals it with, this is all about the perception of a 12-year-old kid who's struggling to feel included in his blended family. As an adult, you saw nothing wrong with the image, but when he expressed his feelings to you, you did not respond at all, and that does make you the jerk. You could have added the picture of just you and him to your original post to show him that he is special to you. You could have made a new post that just focused on you. You could have taken the post down. However, posting something focused on him will be better. All you did was essentially ignore the feelings he was expressing. If you don't respond to what he's telling you, even if you don't agree with his perceptions, you have got some difficult times ahead. And that's a wrap for today's episode of K-Korner. I hope you enjoyed these amazing stories as much as I did sharing them with you. Life is full of unexpected turns, and these stories are a testament to the resilience and spirit of people from all walks of life. Don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe to our channel for more incredible stories, and share your thoughts in the comments below. Stay tuned for our next episode, and remember, life is an adventure, so keep exploring and stay carefree. This is Crown, signing off.